that, let me share my screen, right? So what keyword match type? So when somebody is searching for you, somebody searching for a keyword, somebody is searching for, let's say, some search term which is similar to what you are putting or you have entered in your account, how will it match? For example, let's say you are talking to your friends, right? uh, People may just call you with your first name and you respond, correct? If you're going to, let's say, a college or a hotel, you just give your first like name like Praful Jain, they respond. But if you go to a passport office or a PAN card, over there they ask you for your full name. Like for me, it's Praful Kumar S Jain. They also ask me what is S. S is my dad's name, so they will say Praful Kumar Sampath Jain. So are you able to follow? Different type of departments will want different kind of information even for my name, correct? Same way, you will want Google Ads to tell them that if somebody is searching for a product which relates to my service or product, how do you want to match it? Am I making sense? So what happens is keyword match types helps you to understand, right? Or helps Google Ads understand how should I match keyword match types. For example, buy Nike shoes, correct? Sometimes when you put Nike shoes, you may also see Mintra, Flipkart, Amazon. So all of them have put Nike as a keyword. What you can also do is, sometimes it happens very few times, you might go ahead and see Reebok shoes also. Possible. Possible very few times. So how do you want to match it? That's the thing. The keyword match type basically tells how you want to match your keyword. Why? Because let's say you're selling hats. Correct? Can any in this world there are more than 100 types of hats? Possible? Let's say you are only selling yellow hats or round hats or women hats. Correct? You're not selling hats for men. You're not selling, let's say, hats for kids. You're not selling caps. So should you show up your ads or show up your content only when they are looking for women hat? Yes or no? Let's say they're looking for men hat and your ad starts serving, or they're looking for woman cap and your ad is served, will you even get a conversion? Even if people click, will they buy from you? What do you think? My product is only woman hat. They're looking for woman cap. Now, cap and hat can be similar keywords, but you're getting very specific. Only if somebody is looking for hat, show them my ad. So you have to tell Google Ads that, you know what, only if the search term is matching exactly or some part of the search term is matching, show them my ad. This is something you have to tell Google Ads. How will you tell? Will you go and tell them personally, or you'll have to do something on your account? What do you think? You have to tell Google on your account only? Yes or no? Are you able to follow why we have keyword match types? Yes, no, maybe. You're not able to follow. I'll repeat once again. Everybody is able to follow why we are looking into keyword match types? Maybe. Okay. I'll repeat once again. Let's say Ayush. Ayush Gupta. Now, if I just call Ayush, there can be multiple Ayush in one room. So my first thing is, I want to meet Ayush. Is it correct? So there are multiple Ayush. Now, let's say I want to meet Ayush Gupta. Now, again, what am I doing? My choices are getting limited. Ayush Gupta, who is a part of Board Infinity, who takes a training of online marketing, currently training a batch of April. So now I'm getting more specific. This is how you will have to do keyword match types. So there are 4 types of keyword match types. Let me put in a doc also, which we were making. Keyword match types. You have broad match, You have phrase match, which is the symbol is double quotation, right? You have exact match, where the symbol is square brackets. You inform the system through square brackets. And then you have broad match modifier. The symbol is plus sign. And you have negative match or negative keywords. The symbol is minus. Make sense? Okay. Now, what is broad match? Broad match says that show my keywords as broadly as possible, in which coronavirus is equal to Ebola virus is equal to cold flu also. Virus is a virus, cold virus, flu virus, whatever. So if somebody is looking for some health tip, some virus, show them my ads. For example, low carb diet plan. That is the keyword I have entered in my account. Now, if somebody is looking for carb free foods, low carb diets, low calorie recipes, Mediterranean diet, or Subway, low fat food, are all this matching somehow to this? So I'm saying even if the matching is very, very broad, show them my ad. Correct? The good thing is, the good thing is your ad will show more and more and more and more, right? The negative thing is you may also get a lot of irrelevant traffic, both pros and cons, right? Cool. So this is something which will help you to quickly build a keyword list, help you to reach out to maximum traffic volume with your keywords because you're broadly matching, right? You're not looking at it saying, okay, whatever is broadly matching, it's okay, show my keywords towards it. And the third thing is gives lower quality score because it's less relevant in other match types. Remember, one of the key parameters of quality score is relevancy. Your ad and keyword should be more relevant, correct? So broad match, because it's not very, very, very relevant, you may have you may have a problem with low quality score. Cool. So this is broad match. Now people said, you know what, this is good, but you know what, can I get something more specific? They said broad match modifier. So in broad match, it can show for, for your synonyms, antonyms, closely matched, men equals boy, boy equals child, child equals male, male equals again boy. So all are closely matching and it will show. Now, second thing is broad match modifier. How will you inform system about it? You have to add a plus sign before the keyword, right? So the golden rule of broad match modifier is, let's say whatever I add before the plus sign, that should be there somewhere in the search term. For example, if your keyword is, let's say you keep this carb free foods, low carb diets. So carb free and foods should be there somewhere in the search term. So you're saying match broadly, but it cannot serve for synonyms. So you can have low carb foods, low foods which can be of carb, something on those lines. So the good thing is it will match broadly, but it will not serve for synonyms. So you must still get slightly more relevant traffic. Cool. So helps to close variants, misspellings, singular, plural, abbreviations, acronyms, all that stuff. Right? And you have to add a plus keyword when you enter the key. So when you add keywords, right? Cool. Now the next keyword is phrase match. So the difference between phrase match and broad match is you see this phrase sports shoes in double quotations. Now, when you say phrase match, this keyword, whatever you have entered, right, in your account, in your ad group, it should be a part of the search term given by people like us, like users like us, in the same word order. In broad match modifier, word order can be different. In broad match, in broad match modifier, you definitely need to have keyword in somewhere in the search term. Over here, it should be present and in the same word order. So you see, it will not show the my keyword is sports shoes. It will not show for sports, sports sneakers, or sports for shoes. Same word order. Whereas in broad match modifier, this may show. Correct? The main difference, you are also looking for match orders, same word order. Here, stock market and market stock, remember two different keywords, different meaning, will take into preference. In broad match, it may serve. Correct? So, big difference is gives very high click-through rate as the customers have searched their phrases. A lot of times, what people do is they make two different ad groups in the same campaign, one with phrase match, one with broad match modifier. Because broad phrase match has higher score of quality, it may serve whenever it will serve with a low cost per click. So people make two different ad groups with same keywords but different match types. Because if the phrase match is serving, it will have a high score of quality. So you may end up serving without actually paying a high amount, right? So create ads. So when you make ads, right? When you make text ads, it makes sense if you can create text ads using the same phrases as your keywords, because your keywords will be of same phrases. So it will make logical sense if you do that. Yeah. Then comes if your ad text exactly matches with the customer search, whatever I'm searching. If my ad text is exactly matching with that, you see sometimes the headlines come in bold. The headlines will come in bold if the ad text of my ad and the search term of what people are searching are exactly matching, then it may serve in bold. And if it serves in bold, higher chances of it getting visible and getting clicked. Then comes your exact match. Exact match in keywords. What it is? My keyword and my search term should exactly match. Exactly match. Right? My keywords and my search term, nothing before, nothing after. Sports shoes, sports shoes, sports shoes. These are usually done for brand campaigns. So if I have a brand keyword like Amazon, Flipkart, whatever, or brand like Nike, Flipkart, whatever, I will use it as my brand campaign exact keywords, because nothing should come before it or after it. So this will give low clicks, but whatever clicks come from him will ensure you get the best possible traffic. So this ensures that the most relevant traffic that people are actually looking for a product service are showing your ads. So this will ensure whatever traffic you're getting will have a higher rate of conversion. Clear on these four types? Broad match modifier, phrase match, exact match. Now what is negative keywords? Let's say you are a company of hardware accessories, right? Now, as a company, you only sell accessories of, let's say, laptop, correct? If somebody is looking for desktop accessories and your ad is shown, will it add any value to you? Because you're only selling laptop accessories and not desktop accessories. So if somebody is looking for desktop accessories and then your ad is shown, because laptop, desktop may be similar, then your ad is shown, will it add any value to your business? Yes or no? No, right? Same way, let's say I am a restaurant which serves pure veg food. If somebody looking for chicken biryani, my ad should not show, right? So for such cases, we add them under something called negative keyword list. So when there's a negative keyword list, it basically says, do not show my ads for this set of search terms. That makes sense, right? So what people do is they usually make broad match, modifier keywords, or phrase match, exact match for very, very less brand keywords, and they add negative keywords. Which broad match is for maximum views and clicks, definitely broad match. But again, if you have a budget constraint, right, then you should not use this. What you can do is you can use broad match, right, and also add negative keyword list for something which you think is not good for your business. Yeah, broad match is definitely the best if you want the maximum traffic, immediate traffic. But again, the quality of traffic may not be guaranteed. So you can use a combination of broad match along with negative keywords, right? So a quick table on the same thing, right? Negative key match, right? So broad match, there is no symbol for this. Google Ads suggests broad match. No, so all the keywords when they will suggest broad match only, right? Because that will give more clicks. As a user, you should decide what you want to do. They will suggest most everything in broad match only. You should now decide as per your business what is phrase match, exact match. How will they know? Right? So they can only give search terms. So Google will not give keywords, Google will give search terms. So these search terms are used a lot. Then you will decide based on your business. Okay, now let's start with the table. See, broad match, there's no punctuation symbol. It triggers your add-on synonyms, something which is relevant, and other relevant variations. Broad match modifier, you have to put a plus sign before the keywords. So let's say if you have 3 keywords, or if you have 3 words in a keyword, if you put the plus sign only on first 2, then only first 2 would be broad match modifier. The third one would be a normal keyword, right? So you can use multiple types also if you want to. So close variation, but not synonyms or such is relative. It definitely serves for close variations, but definitely yes, not something with it into search. Phrase match, right? A phrase and close variation of that purchase, something like this. Exact match is exact term, and close variations, negative is do not show for this specific keyword. What is the normal keyword? By default, with broad. So when you enter by default, all are broad, Shivani. You will have to give symbols. So if you open the campaign, which we made yesterday, by default, they come with broad. You have to change them to phrase or exact by putting the symbols. Plus implies broad match modifier. So it's not broad match, it's a modifier. You're saying it's a broad match modifier means do not show for synonyms. So let's say I put a plus sign, then that keyword should be a part in the search term used by the user. Plus implies broad match modifier. I'm modifying my broad match search slightly. Okay, so I got it. Let's go back. There's no golden rule for this. For me, I used to usually mix phrase match and broad match modifier. However, my friend used to use a lot of broad match and add a lot of negative keywords. So it depends on business to business. But yeah, a lot of people use broad match modifiers a lot because it definitely gives you more control on not showing synonyms. But yes, you should definitely have one campaign for your brand keywords. For that, you should only use exact match keywords, and you should have one campaign for your competitors. What is competitors? If I am Flipkart, I am also including Amazon as my keyword, so that when people are looking at Amazon, Flipkart are broadly almost similar. So I can also show for those kind of search terms, right? So honestly, you should try and work your way out. There are reports which you can see, which you will see probably tomorrow. Based on the reports, you can decide which keywords to use. Yeah, Gena? Cool. How about you, Shivani? Got the point? Yes, Shivani? You're not clear? Okay, Shivani said thanks. Okay, okay, got it. So some good suggestions to improve keyword ideas, because keywords are the backbone, right? So if your backbone is not stable, you'll not be able to walk. We know that for fact, right? So keywords are like the backbone for your marketing or Google Ads activity. So you should ensure that you are giving the best possible keywords for your account. Let's see what are the different good keyword ideas that you can do and implement as a account strategist or account optimizer. Filter your keyword by click-through rate. What is click-through rate? A quick reminder, guys. What is click-through rate? A quick reminder. What is click-through rate? Anybody? Click-through rate. Clicks by impressions to 100. Correct. So if some keyword is giving you a lot of impressions but very low click-through rate, that means people are not clicking on it. It's being shown a lot of times, it's not being clicked. So don't you think you should actually remove those kind of keywords? What do you think? If I'm getting a lot of impressions but very low click-through rate, should I remove them? You should modify them, right? That's the first thing you have to do. And how do you do that? I'll just show my account once it opens up. So filter your keyword by CTR for high impressions and least clicks, adjust them. So we can download the reports in Excel sheet and do that, or do it manually also from interface. I personally like to download because it's easy to work on Excel sheet with multiple filters, right? So let's say I go to my keywords, right? Let me put only all but removed. So all my keywords are, paused and active. Now, first thing is, let me filter it by impression, right? So see, I'm getting keywords by impression, impression 0 to impression 6406. Now, what is my click-through rate? So what do I do? So always see this report, right? This is how you browse your navigation. So now I want to see my click-through rate. So you see a thing called columns over here. Columns, my mouse cursor movement, click on this. It's like graph, X axis, Y axis. Now I want to see my click-through rate, CTR, right? Now I have just too much of data. Let me remove all this. Add relevance history, add relevance, landing page, expected CTR, quality score. I don't want to see all this. I only want to see my CTR, probably my cost also. Cost, right? Okay. I also want to see my average cost per click. Average cost per click. Perfect. Apply. This is how you can check your reports. Now see something which has 6,500, 1.5, 1.5. Now let me also do CTR over here. Impressions. So what you can do is you can download this report in an Excel file. and from there you can filter. Correct? From here I can filter based on what is my highest impression and see, put a filter of all the click through rates below your average. Make sense? Can I put formulas over here that whatever keyword has, let's say, let me sort this if I want to sort, right? I can sort this and do that, right? This is how you can make your keywords thing. What is not working, what is working, sort it, and then sort by click-through rate and remove everything which is not working fine. The first point. So filter your keyword by CTR for high impressions and least click. Second thing is all the keywords below first page bid estimate. So you will get over here something called below first page bid estimate. Columns, modify columns. You see estimate first page bid, click on this. Now, if you go over here, see it's $1.50. So put an Excel sheet and check what is the max CPC that you have given, and is the estimate first page bid lower than your max CPC? If yes, good, no. But if the estimate first page bid is much higher than your max CPC, will you serve? Estimate not accurate, but let's say most of your keywords are way below the max CPC of, or the bid that you are willing to pay is way below than what is the estimate first page bid, then you will not show, because history says that this kind of keywords have a high bid, so you may have to increase your bids also. Okay, try to keep keyword with high quality score and adjust the ad groups. Cool, right? So all different keyword ideas so that you can adjust keywords so it does not show for irrelevant sites. Use phrases, very important. So you have a website, right? Try to use phrases from your landing page URLs to create keywords. Plug in more money for high performing keywords by increasing your bid. So something which is giving you more clicks, better click rate, and also probably more. Last point. Which point? Okay. Sonal, which point you want to me to repeat? First page bid one. So we have to remove not working keywords. You can remove or you can pause them. You have to remove. How do you remove that? So let's say these keywords are not working. Select them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Edit, pause or remove. And Sonal, what you can do is go over here, go to customize columns once again, right? Columns, modify columns below. Sorry, estimated. So we have already added estimated first page bid or first position bid, right? So I've added this. So Google is saying, as per history, for this keyword cabs or taxis at the airport, to come on the first page, average bid is 0.86 cents. This is as per Google Ads history, right? So ideally, if you want to serve more, you should have a slightly higher max cost per click than the estimated first page bid. So if your max cost, max CPC or your bid value, so this bid value is what you give when you make the campaigns, correct, Sonal? So if your max cost per click is way below the estimated first page bid, then you should actually increase your bids. That's what it says. Otherwise, you will not show more often. Makes sense now, Sonal? Yes? Perfect. Others also, if you're not able to follow, do ask me, right? Then, of course, uh, if you see some keywords are performing very well, increase the bids and give more money from there. Yeah. Now, what is dynamic keyword insertion? Right? I'll tell you that. Let's say you are searching for buy strawberry cakes. What is you searching for? You are searching for buy strawberry cake. The first ad is best cakes in Delhi. The ad is saying, and so on and so forth. The second ad is strawberry cake for all occasions, so on and so forth. Which ad has a higher chance of getting a click? The first one or second one? Which ad has a higher chance of getting a click? First one or second one? Second one, right? Why? Why? Not whole occasions. Strawberry is there, people. I'm looking for strawberry. Strawberry is there. Correct? So now, can there be 10 types of cakes? Strawberry, vanilla, chocolate, birthday, muskmelon, whatever. So will you make 10, 15 ad copies? Technically, that's the way you're supposed to do that, right? Yeah, it's a very difficult task if I have to make like 20 ads with different variations. Yes. So what do you do then? So you do something called dynamic keyword insertion. What is that? I dynamically tell the Google Ads that change my ad based on the keyword. So what is that? Let's go to my ads. All of you, please focus on my screen. Let's say I'm making different types of cakes. You see something over here? Dynamic generate headline. I'll tell you what is that. Now let's see text ad. This is how I add. Campaign name is Ace Test, something on those lines. Ace Test example. Now, dynamic keyword insertion says that this is my URL is www.flipkartexample.com. HTTPS. This is a bakery also. Okay. HTTPSC by. Now what you do is over here, open a flower bracket. You see over here, first keyword insertion, click on this and give a default thing called cake. Okay. So now what it says over here is, if the search term and my keyword in my account are exactly matching, replace my keyword in the ad. What it says, if the search term is exactly matching, right? So it lets you automatically update your ads with the keyword in your ad group that caused your ad to show. But it should match exactly. If it's not matching exactly, then over there you saw a default texting. The default texting will come over here. Did you guys get it clearly? So if my keyword and my search term are exactly matching, my search term will automatically come in my ad. That makes it more relevant. So now I don't have to make 20 ads. One ad can serve purpose for all different cake types as long as it is also there in my keyword list. Make sense? Over here, you'll also see an option called countdown. What is countdown? You see, last 2 days left, last Monday left, last day left. You do this for those kind of ads. Right? Clear on what is keyword insertion and countdown? So dynamic keyword insertion DKI lets you automatically update your ads with the keywords in your ad group that cause your ads to show. This makes your ad more relevant to users searching for what you have to offer. Cool. Any questions on DKI? Yes, no, maybe, yeah, I got it. We will try this. Easy, everybody. This is very useful also. This will make your ad look more relevant to the search terms. Yeah. Now let's look at ad formats. Different types of ads that you can make on Google. So nothing. It's automatic. So what you do is you just open the flower bracket. Flower bracket on your keyboard. Click on that, and you get an option like keyword insertion, countdown, ad. If so, all these are advanced functions. Countdown is you give over here and you give a time when the countdown will end and when it starts. Will it start tomorrow, day after tomorrow, or when will it start? Let's say 2 days, 3 days, right? Something on these lines. Cool. Got it. Formula. There's no formula. It's just a this thing. I'm not sure who typed in. Yeah, Shivani. Got it. No. Cool. Now what are different ad types? Different ad types that you can make on your account. Okay. So the first ad type is text ads. We all know that, right? What is text ads? Text ads is mainly on google.com. Okay. We know how to make it also. The next type is called responsive ads. This is called image ads or banner ads. This is not shopping ads. Not shopping ads. Shopping ad is here ads will show price, add to cart, everything. This is image ad, or we call it banner ad. And do is you make this mainly for display network. Image ads cannot serve on search network, whereas text ads can serve on both search and display. So if I go over here, see Google search network and display network, okay? Responsive ads, or we call it image ads, can serve only on Google display network, where you see ads on third-party websites, right? That's the whole idea. Then you have image ads, right? So image ads now are called responsive ads because they can change automatically. But let's say you want to make static ads, something which is not dynamic. So you can make static interactive ads like GIF format, Flash format, image ads, but not many people use this. Now they all use responsive ads. App promotions ad. This is mainly for apps. So what happens is when you search something from your, let's say, tablet or from a mobile phone, do they tell you download this app or it's already there in your device? Yes, that's app promotion ad. This is basically there to drive your app downloads and increase engagement of already installed apps. Okay, video ads. This is mainly for YouTube, right? Video ads is majorly for YouTube. And you have shopping ads where you see price or anything. This is majorly for your shopping ads. Showcase shopping ads is basically an ad image that describes the expands when clicked. This is again for mobile apps only. And call only ads. This is majorly to fight competition of Judge Dial across the globe and only for mobile phones. right? So instead of the headline, you see, you have a headline, you have a button of call and not text. So people may click on this, the call lands automatically to the number of the advertiser. This is mainly important for services like emergency, like plumber services, Swiggy, Zomato, home delivery app, something on those lines. Only for mobile phones, so you can make call only ad. These are different ad types that you can make. I would suggest whenever you get time, please try all these ad types. Without trying, you will never learn. Right? Some best practices. Content, you can't advertise this on Google Network. For India, you really cannot showcase ads of tobacco, alcohol, even something adult. So if you want to showcase ads of adult, it should be only for above 18. So it will not be family safe, something on those lines. Okay. Something which is prohibited, right? Restricted. And you cannot give, a lot of caps. So in your ads, you cannot give a lot of ads, lot of caps. You cannot say free, 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 free. You cannot use a lot of exclamations, no characters. It should be visually appealing to see even if it's text ad, right? Something like this. Don't do this, right? Style and spelling should be good. Do not use invalid or unsupported things like emoji, smileys, spelling mistakes with a lot of apostrophe, all the stuff. Should not use caps. See, too much of caps is disapproved. Do not repeat things, right? Do not give too much of spaces. You cannot use phone number in ad text. For that, you have to use call only ads, or later we'll see call extensions. Misuse of ad feature. Example, ads that don't contain promotional content, text ads missing a line of text, all this stuff. The business should be identified. You cannot promote unidentified business or something which leads to phishing or incorrect landing page to the user. You're showing ABC on the Google front end. When they click, it is getting redirected to XYZ. No, that's not allowed. Image quality, upside down or sideways image are not allowed. Should not be blurry, should not be unclear, should not be eligible, should not be copied from any site which is restricted. Same thing with video quality. How not to write an ad? You see over here, there's a mark of exclamation, caps before and. Even in the second ad, you see something called incorrect capitalization, too much of caps. It should be normal taxi, TAXI, right? You cannot use ad over here, okay? You can't use phone number over here. You can't use question mark over here. You can't use free, free, free 3 times. This is not allowed. How do you write good ads? Should be interstitial cap. What is interstitial? The first word caps, all in lowercase. Should have a display path like this. Yourself book a kit. Relevant, final URL. Highlight your discount offers like this. Choose best headlines. All USP should be like this. Same day delivery guaranteed. So USP, right? Have a good call to action. Do not include any brand name in ad copies. Your brand names should be a part of your URLs. Right? Cool. Now let's come to ad extensions. Now what is ad extensions? What do you mean by extension in normal English language? Normal language. What do you mean by extensions? Anybody? In normal English language, what do you mean by extensions? Forget online marketing. What is extension? Like a extension box.com, like a box of extension, sheet extended. What do you mean by extension in normal English language? Something extra, something additional. So you're making ads, right? In your ads, you cannot give phone number. You cannot give, let's say, address of your account. Correct? So you add extensions. So there are different types of extensions. So extensions basically gives advertisers more options to include more information about themselves, which can be used by people like us when we are going to see their ads. Make sense? So should you add extensions if it is adding more value to your business and can increase the chances of getting a click? So if you can get a click, your click-through rate will be higher, which will improve your score of quality, which will also ensure that you will end up paying less and show more often. So if extensions can give you so much of benefits, should you add extensions for your account or for your campaigns? Yes or no? And if it adds more value to your business, should it be a part of your campaign summary? Ideally, it should be, right? So let's go and see few common types of extensions that people may use and how do we make it. So I will show you 2 or 3 extensions to make it. Rest, you can practice whenever you get time. There are more than 12 types of extensions, but the process to create them is same. The output may vary, but the process to create them is almost the same. The first type is called, so this is how you do it. You go to your account, you see a thing called extensions, right? How do you go there? So if you can see my account, let me just close this. Leave this page. You see over here ads, and you see a tab called over here extensions. There are 2, automated and extensions. Automated is something which Google will automatically add to your account based on its own AI. Second thing is you are going to add manually. Make sense? Yes? So let's see how do you add each one of them. The different types of extension is called site links, call out, structured snippets, call extensions, message, location, affiliate. Let me tell you one by one. So first let's go to site link. Have you seen sometimes ads which are shown like this, and you see some hyperlinks over here, like contact us, right? Admission form, investors. Have you seen this kind of thing sometimes? Ad is shown with more hyperlinks along with the ad. So that means you have one landing page for ad, and you can see 4 more landing pages, which is giving more information about that business. Yes. No. Have you seen that sometimes? Let me see if I can find something over here. Excuse me. You see over here, contact us, about us, courses offered, read the FAQs, meet the faculty, written fees, check the. So if I click on this, I go to curriculum. If I click on this, I go to the date and fees. So slightly higher chances of me clicking on those. Bank ads, yes. This is called site link. What is site link? You have to give some other landing page of your website so that it gives more information about that specific part. Let's say I'm looking for courses offered. It's so easy, right? I click on this, I straight away go on that. Correct? Yeah? So now I know all the courses over here. So if I click on this, I go to more information. And I can go and again check fee and financing. So this will give me more insight as a user to check what's in it for there and what's not there. Cool. This is called site links. And how do you make it? So in your account, you go over here. I'll make one and show to you. Extensions, you see all the plus sign over here? Plus sign, site link extension, create new. What is the text? Let's say contact us. Right? Description would be, please check on our contact information. Right? So spelling is wrong, contact us. See, whatever I enter, it's coming over here. And then I have to give a URL. This should be a different page apart from your ad. It should not be a duplicate page. The idea is to give users like us more experience. So your landing page of these site links should be a page which is very different than your normal page. Both should be related somehow. Backlinks is in SEO for it. We'll do it later. Right? Backlinks is different. It's not a part of SEM at all. It's a very different concept of SEO, where I want to get traffic from some other websites. But this is site links. Understood? Some other landing page of my website, which is not like my ad, but slightly similar. This will give you more. And a lot of people, lot of advertisers, lot of clients, they usually want site links because this gives them more option to show more landing pages, right? So why not? Next thing is call out extensions. Same thing, you go and create that. This is non-clickable. You have to give some USP of your product, like 24 hours guaranteed delivery. You're calling out the USP, right? Then you have structured snippets. What is this? Structured snippets means your website may have different types of product. Let's say Board Infinity may talk about business analytics, online marketing, digital marketing, placement help. So structured snippets basically tells the advertiser the different types of products offered by this company. So how do I go and do this? I go back to my extensions. Extensions. I type over here, extension, structured snippet. Right? Value one would be, let's say, business analytics, digital marketing. So you see on the right hand side, header, this option, everybody are able to see the one which I'm trying to highlight, highlighting. So header basically tells all the different types of products that is being offered by this company. Will this give more insight to end users to get more click? What do you think? Yes. So structured snippets basically tells you all the different types of products that you are trying to sell on your website. This way the customer will know, oh, okay, you can add up to, I think 10 products over here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, see 10. We have 10 products, that's more than enough. Because space is constrained. That's structured snippets. Then you have call extension. Call extension is, one was call only ads, but sometimes you want to show the headlines and you also see some number over here, like 1-800-401-600, right? So you give your ad headline and a small phone number, it's called call extension. So with your ad, you see phone number majorly for mobile devices. In India, you don't have message extension. Basically, it's like an automated chat, right? When you click on it, it opens a bot and tells them, please let us know when to call you back. So a message can be dropped and it will be seen by the advertiser. Location extension is basically your address. How do we verify this address? All of you know what is Google Maps? Every year? Everybody? Now, in Google Maps, the address may be correct, may not be correct. Possible? Is there a guarantee that the address will always be correct? No, right? So Google said, let's do something called Google My Business. So one more product of Google, wherein let's say you have opened a new business and you want to show it on Google Maps. So in Google Maps, sometimes check, you will see address verified and not verified. You will see both of them. Absolutely. So if you open a new business and you want to show and Google that, this is my new business, you have to verify your address. How do you verify that? The moment you open the account, they will say, we will need a PIN. And how will the PIN come? They will post you. So if a post is received at any specific address, the address is correct, right? Nofal, so no, I think Nofal has done that. So this location extension, you have to sync with your AdWords account. So you will have to sync your Google My Business account with your account of AdWords, and the address will be taken automatically from your Google My Business account. And what is affiliate? Same thing. If you have a lot of affiliate extensions, you'll have to give that. Price extension is basically, you see sometimes, right? Fare starting from 10 rupees for next 3 days. You see that? $10 per night. That's your price extension. App extension, I told you. Review is no longer there. They removed it. And promotion is only in US, where you want to start some promotions on, like get 20% off, get 50% off with your ads. These are your ad extensions. How do you make it? And I suggest all of you to go ahead and make this one by one. Do it one by one, all the extensions. Go to Extensions tab, make one extension, and save it. Make one and save it. Make one and save it. This is the best way to learn. Unless you make it, you will not know. So the beauty of SEM is, people can just guide you. You will have to do it on your own, with your own sweet hands, on your own system. Till now, let me pause for a minute. Any questions? Rishikesh, Fareed, Tapas, Sonal, Gitika, Gehna, Nofal, Shreyas, Sonal, Mayank, Hiral, RM2 Pro, Mohammed, Mukesh, Shivani, Sanjal, Aparna, Vishnu. Any questions that you have? Clear? So all of you will practice today extensions for sure? Yes? And also keyword match types? So if you don't do it by tomorrow, you'll forget it, people. So when I was learning SEM, especially so I'm an SEM specialist, whatever I should learn, I should practice it immediately. That's the best way to remember. Otherwise, you will forget. It's huge. Google Ads is huge. And if you know Google Ads, trust me, you will know all the other platforms also. Right? So now, let's go out of extensions. Right? So again, not all the extensions will always serve. Minimum ad rank will be required to display extensions, right? First of all, you should come on the top position. First page and top position for most of the extension to serve. Ad position on search result page, typical max at the top. Some other extensions like, highest performing combinations. Few I have shown you over here. Right? Cool. So this is all about extensions. Let's go and try to learn about bids and budgets. Right? So as I told you, there are 4 types of ad positions, right? In the top, you can show 4 ads, at the bottom 3. So overall, in one page of Google, Google.com, the first page, maximum you can show 7 ads on one page. And you can see ads on other pages also, but nobody cares, right? So the whole fight is, what can I do to come on the first page, specifically on the top of the page? That's the fight that all of us are trying to fight for. Right? So why on the top of the page? Because they are much more wider. So they are wider. They can combine many lines of text. They can also feature your domain name. You will see your own domain name with your website and some more extensions. So higher chances of getting a clicks and definitely higher chances of getting a conversion. Bottom ad are less wider compared to top ads. And they can also be ignored. So people do not prefer bottom ads, right? So I was thinking about ad quality, right? 3 things: quality score, expected click rate, ad relevance. How do you check that? So first of all, your account should have some history.
So my account is a test account, not serving from past 2-3 years because I cancelled it. So again, let us go back to keywords. So the score of quality is determined at keyword level. Okay. So now how do you check that? You see columns over here, modify columns, quality score, search, like a search engine, quality score, right? In the three parts, expected click-through rate, landing page experience, ad relevance. Apply. See, it's all dash over here. But once you have some history of your accounts, you will see a score called 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anything below 6, you have to ensure it's working. So how do you do? What do you do? You can download Excel or CSV or XLX. Right? So over here, right? Once you have numbers, right? See, can you see my screen, everybody? Right? So I have over here quality score, expected click-through rate, landing page, ad relevance. Can I put filters over here? Anything which is, below 10 or below 6 should be filtered, and you should improve the quality score. So that way, will you know, okay, for this keywords, landing page is a problem. For this keywords, ad relevance is a problem. And every keyword, if you go over here, also have their campaign name, ad group name. Correct? So this is how you can go ahead and check your score of quality and see whichever keyword or whichever campaign has a lot of keywords with low score of quality. You need to work upon them. This is how you will decide on that. Make sense? How to check the score of quality? Yes. Store locator shown as brand website is example for location. No. Questions, right? 1 minute. I just missed. Can you say some example data practice? Practice of what? Extensions? Sorry, so I can't show data because my data are very client-specific data. If somebody catches this on recording, I might be in a legal soup. Is location extension same like we see in Mapshot? No. Kind of similar, but on AdWords, it's there on different. I'm not there on GitHub. No. And Shivani, I can't share any practice data. So even this data is of my old account, my personal account, which I was using 2-3 years back. Now I paused it. Now it's all clients' accounts. Unfortunately, data is sensitive. No, but data should be there. No, I'm going to say I can't show my client data, Shivani. What if, because this is a recording. Tomorrow it goes viral, or somebody else uses this. My client will ask, why are you giving my data to some X company? From where? Nowhere else, Shivani. It should be an account only. So I should have access to some account, right? So Shivani, if you have an account of AdWords and you have data, I can download from there. So I should have access to accounts, and people should not complain. Cool. And store locator is different than location extension. Two different interfaces. But if you talk about logic is same, but the interface is different. Store locator is from Google Maps, and this is from Google Ads. Yes. So 2 questions answered. Okay. Perfect. So let me show data. Let's say, let me replace it over here. 6, 5, 7, 9, 10, 3, 2, 4. Assume this data is correct. 5, 8, 9. Right, Shivani? Now let's say I want to understand all these qualities code: data, filter, expect CTR, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you see, all these 4 keywords have getting less click-through rates. So why? I have to understand that. Or I can pause them, I can remove them, or work on them. Now it makes sense. Now same thing I can do for landing page also. 4, 7, 3, 2. In landing page, again I'll not put 7. So all this landing page is bad, so I have to change the landing page also. Okay, Shivani? Let's say if you have data, this is how you will use data. You'll put filters and try to get data of anything below 5. Perfect? Cool? Okay, great. So same thing comes over here, your ad quality, right? So now landing page, right? How should your landing page be? Follow a principle called ROTN. ROTN is relevant, original, transparent, and navigable. So this is the most important requirement of any Google Ads. How is your landing page experience? Because though you must say, Google, this is my own website, I will decide what to do. But if Google is sending traffic on your website, they want to ensure that people are able to get the right information without any challenges, and also they are not being cheated by you for any such reason. Right? So majorly your landing page should be relevant and original. Now I'll show you my own account. Okay, my blog I've copied from a lot of sources. Right? Let me show you an ad. You will surprise that even if I want to pay, they're not allowing me to show my blog because they are saying that my blog is not original. It is copied from a lot of other sources. To disapprove. Why? Site words policy. You see, insufficient original content. You always see this? So my content is not very original, and that's why though I'm okay to pay, they're not allowing me to serve, saying that my website is not original. Correct? So first and foremost, your website should be relevant and original. Is your site actually useful to visitors? And what does your site offer that others can't? Transparent. You should not hide anything from your customers. Is your business and contact information easy to find? Are you upfront about any information you are collecting from your visitors? Can people easily tell what will happen when they perform an action on your site? Very important. It should be easy for people to navigate and look for what they're looking for. Has anybody over here used MobiQuick by any chance, anytime? MobiQuick? It's a good product, whatever, but I found MobiQuick very confusing. So nothing against MobiQuick, but Super Cash, Super Cash, whatever. Right? So that's a big challenge. Yes, and that's one reason why most of them do not use MobiQuick. Right? Same way, your website should be easy for people to understand and to navigate. Yes, so something like it. It should be easy for people to understand, right? If it's confusing, then you will also say, okay, let me forget it. It's too confusing, so forget it. I will not even look at it. Yeah. Can people easily find information to learn more or questions? These are a few things that you have to understand. So ad rank is a value that determines whether your ad makes it onto the first page of search results and what ad position. So you were earlier able to see average ad positions. It's been removed from past 5 weeks. So your ad rank is determined by components of your quality score, your bid, and expected impact of ad extensions and ad formats. Right? So now let's come back to bidding and budget. So can anybody explain me the difference between what is bid and what is budget? Anybody? What is the difference between bid and budget? In normal sense, bid and budget, what is the difference? Budget is specific for organization. Bid means to qualify for bid, we compare with other places. Okay. So in Google Ads also, budget is how much you are willing to pay, how much you are willing to pay every time somebody is clicking on your ad. For bid, we compare with, okay. So first let's go to budget. Let's say budget, right? First thing is you should have money in the account. So how do you check for money? If I go to my account of AdWords, you see tools and settings. So guys, when I'm browsing my screen, let me know if you're not able to follow. Okay, I click on this. You see over here, oh, sorry, it went away. And to some, you see billing over here? You go to billing summary, and over here you'll have to first make payment for your ad to serve, right? What are different options? You have automatic, you have manual, and you have invoicing. What is automatic? You give your card, like ECS, right? So you give your card information, credit card or whatever, right? And then whenever your account balance is exhausted, it will automatically charge your CAD and your ad will start showing. Okay. What is manual? It's like your prepaid again. So you have to go and manually update. So let's say your balance becomes 0, definitely you'll get an email. But unless you go and manually update your balance or manually add money into the account, it will not be shown. Correct? Third thing is invoicing. Invoicing depends purely on Google. So what they do in invoicing, they do verification on your big clients, and from there they will decide whether to show your ad, yes or no. Correct? So once you do this, now in one account there are multiple campaigns. Correct? So you will give an individual budget for each campaign. Make sense now? So you will give an individual budget for each of your campaigns, and this budget, what you give is a daily budget. Correct? Can you change your budget whenever you want to? If you want to change your budget, yes? So how will that impact your ad serving? So first thing is budget is establishes a charging limit for an individual campaign. Bid is the amount you're willing to spend every time somebody clicks. Okay? So budget is charging how much you want to pay for an individual campaign, and bid is how much you are willing to spend every time somebody is clicking. Two different things altogether. Let's come with budget starting from one. Yeah, it starts from ₹1, $1, £1, even 50 cents if you want to. Okay. So now let's see a video on how you can control your cost, which should be the ultimate goal of any online marketer. What can I do which can help me control my cost? 1 minute while I open this. I'll also ping the link for you in case you want to see it from your end. Sometimes the voice may not come properly. This is a video link.
With AdWords, you're in complete control of your
1 minute.
costs. There's no
So this video can also see from your end. Everyone get the video? It's very simple. Technically, how you can optimize your account to ensure that you optimize your spending, right? For that, you have bids and budgets. Cool. Has everyone played the video? Let me know if I can continue from here. Okay, cool. So now what is budget? Budget is your daily limit, right? So this is something which is no longer there. It's automatic. Okay. Yeah. So with AdWords, you can choose a daily budget for each campaign based on your advertising goals and the general amount you are comfortable spending with. If you are used to working with a monthly ad budget, you can find your daily budget by dividing your monthly by the 30.4, the average number of days per month. Now let's say you give a daily budget of $100. is it necessary that Google Ads will spend $100 every day? Is it a must that Google Ads will go ahead and spend $100 every month, every day? No, right? It depends on traffic also. Now let's say travel industry, right? So few of my clients who are from travel vertical, they're hardly getting any search queries. In today's world, now with Corona happening, do you think people will look for holidays? Do you think people will look for vacation? No, right? Even though they have a high budget, they will not serve, and definitely their amount will also not get spent. Okay. Now, what happens if you change the budget? If you change the budget, let's say at the morning when the campaign started serving, okay, your budget was $100, correct? So system will think that I can spend $100 for the entire day, right? So let's say by afternoon, it has already spent $40. What's your daily budget? $100. By afternoon, it's already spent $40, correct? At 3 o'clock, you decreased your daily budget to, let's say, $40. Possible? Yes, you have already spent $40. By 3 p.m., you have spent $60. So now the system, what will do is, it can't give you a refund back. Will it give you a refund back? No, right? So whatever you have spent, it may stop serving immediately. Sometimes it happens that it may stop serving immediately. So when you decrease your budget, do that. Let's say if you change your budget multiple times in a day, then whichever budget was the highest, that will take into effect. That's what it says over here. Midday campaign will typically spend around 50% of the budget in the day's first half because it wants to use your budget for 24 hours. If you are getting enough searches, by midday, typically 50% of your budget is spent. If you have lowered your daily budget significantly, it's also possible that your ad distribution will slow down significantly for the entire day. Right? Let's say if you change your budgets multiple, some people do that, right? Morning they make 100, evening 80, afternoon 120, then 150, it gets confusing. So if you change more than once, you will be charged based on the daily budget that you choose as the highest. Whichever is the highest budget, it will charge for that. Let's say mid-month, you will be charged for the month no more than the new budget multiplied number of days. So let's say now come to monthly. Right? Now, let's say my daily budget is $100. What's my monthly budget, by the way? Let's say cycle from 1 to 38. Time period per day? No. So it will spend throughout the day. What you can do is, Nopal, remember ad scheduling? You can do ad scheduling. And you can say for this specific hours, bid more. But you cannot say use more budget. You can do ad schedule. Yes, you can do. You can say 38 to 40. No, that's not possible. No. You can do ad scheduling and you can bid more on certain times of the hour. You can say in morning, increase my maximum bid or max cost per click by 20%. You can do that, but budget you can't do anything. Okay, so if my daily budget is $100, what's my monthly budget, people? This into 30.4, let's say approximately $3,000. Now let's say I spend some amount every day. By 10th of the month, I have spent $800. Till now clear? Someday I spend 80, someday 100, someday 90. So by 10th, I have spent $180. So $800, correct? Now, I change my daily budget $50. On 10th, so now what would be my monthly budget? On 10th, I've changed my daily budget to $50 now. So now what's my monthly budget? $2,000. Why it is 2,000? 1,500. Okay, so what is 1,500 by the okay, 30 by 1,500. Okay, 700 rupees. How did you get 2,000? Mukesh, I want to understand that. How did you get 2,000? Okay, I got the logic of 700. So 30 into 50 is 500. 300 minus 800. Okay, Mukesh, how do you get 2,000? I want to understand that. 100 for 10 days remaining, 20 days 50. Okay. Okay. Got the logic. Okay. So I'll tell you what happened. So let's say if it is this is your salary, if somebody does like this, will you be happy? Suddenly they change something and that will impact your monthly thing also? No, right? So what you will say, "Theek hai bhaiya, whatever is done. I'll not give it back. From today, if you are increasing my budget, whatever is spent is spent. That's $800 I've spent, right? 30 into 50 is how much? 1,500? No. So what is the days remaining? From 10 to 30th, there are 20 days remaining. So 20 into 50 is a new budget, $1,000. So my new monthly budget will be 1,000 plus 800, $1,800. Whatever I've spent. Number of days remaining into my new budget. Make sense, people? Yes? Whatever I've spent. Number of days remaining into, okay, I'll repeat. So first point, let's go. Everybody. What's my daily budget on the first of month? $100. So my monthly budget is $3,000. Is this point clear? Everybody, let's go point by point. Now, point 2. By 10th, I've spent $800. And on 10th, I changed my daily budget to $50. Correct? So what will be my new monthly budget? So let's say it's my pocket money, which I'm getting from my dad. So if we go by logic given by, let's say, somebody, right? Okay. So whatever I've spent, correct? Cool. So what is my new monthly budget? Whatever I've spent, okay, plus the number of days remaining. How many days are remaining? Oh, sorry, this. How many days are now remaining? $20 days? Yes. What is 20 into 50? What is 20 into 50? 1,000. So my new would be 1,000 plus whatever I spent, $1,800. Clear on this, everybody? Yes? Correct, Mukesh, everybody? Now, what if you change your, now what will happen is, why this is important is, if you are charged more than your monthly budget, you will get a refund because you are saying that I don't want to spend more than this. If Google Ads spends more than this on their own, you will get a refund on your billing account. Yeah? Cool. Now, what if you change your budget multiple times in a month? Then the monthly budget cap will not be applicable because then we will not be able to show, right? Sometimes we'll spend more, sometimes we'll spend less. That will not be applicable. This is clear? Daily budget, monthly budget. Now, let's go and see one more concept. It's called over delivery. What do you mean by over delivery in normal English term? Delivering more than what is expected. Correct? Is it good? Let's say if you get more than what you expect, is it good? Do we feel happy about that? Correct? Okay. Let's go back to our slide once again. Let's say my daily budget is $100. Day 1, I spent 80. Day 2, 70. Day 3, 70. Day 4, 90. Right? Now, day 5, let's say it's a holiday. And Swiggy and Zomato, it's a festival. Now, a lot of people are looking for Swiggy, Zomato. So what will happen is, I have some money left that I could have used from day 1, 2, 3, 4, $20, 30, 20, 30. Yes, some budget is left from previous days. So on some days, when the system sees that you're getting more clicks than what your daily budget can do, it can spend double your daily budget. Or 200% of a daily budget, but not more than monthly budget. So it will be sure that it will not spend more than your monthly budget, but on some days it can spend more than your daily budget. Good, no? Some days when you're getting more clicks, it takes a liberty to spend more on that specific day. This concept is called daily budget over delivery. So this started from October 2017. Campaigns will be able to spend twice the average daily budget to help you reach your ads and goals. On days with traffic, your cost could be 2 times your daily budget. However, your monthly charging limit will apply. If it spends more than monthly charging limit, you will get a refund on that. Won't changing budget every day lead us to chaotic data and won't show this? That's why you should not change your budget every day. You should give a stable budget at least for a month. My personal advice, Farid. People do it, but it is not good. Cool? Clear on what is budget? Now let's go to bids. Right? So this is no applicable. Bidding options. You have cost per click, cost per 1,000 impressions, cost per acquisition. You have cost per view and cost per installation. 5 types of bidding. Right? So now, before we get into bidding, can anybody tell me what is the major difference between a Honda Activa and CBSE? Can somebody tell me what is the major difference between Honda Activa and CBSE? Anybody? Absolutely. So one is gateless, one is non-gate. So can I say one is automatic, one is manual? One is automatic and one is manual technically. Same way, when you want to bid, you have 2 options. Either you give system a goal that this is the goal and you bid automatically, or you decide manually how you would want to bid. Right? If you give system the logic, they will decide your bid automatically and then it will spend automatically based on that. Yeah? So before I do bidding part, right, let me explain you how do you do bids. So I go to any campaigns, settings, right, bidding. So what is the use of automatic? Automatic is you give system all the ideas and it decides, so you don't have much of work. When you're doing manual, you have more control, better mileage. Correct? That's it. So when you say automatic, there are different goals. One is maximize clicks. So you will tell the system, you know what, let me go and show in the account only. So over here, you see manual CPC, changing bid strategy. Please let me know if you can see my screen. Change bid strategy. I click on this and I say automatic. First thing is maximize clicks. So over here, you see you have an option of maximize cost per click. It's an option. I click on this and I say 5 rupees. As the goal says, Google Ads automatically sets your bids to get you as many clicks as possible within your budget. Can Google determine, not accurately, but hypothetically, if some user will click on an ad or not based on the history? Google has a history of everybody's browsing history. Yes, the first goal is maximize clicks. If my goal is to get more and more website visitors, this is my bidding type. Let's say my goal is not clicks. My goal is to get maximized conversions. How does Google track conversions? People who are interested later go and study about AdWords conversion tracking. You have to enable AdWords conversion tracking. Basically, when you order something, right, you get a thank you page. Thank you for ordering. Your order number is so and so. Correct? So there is a tracking code from Google Ads which you get. You go to tools and you go to tools and you go to conversions over here. You all see this? Just go there and start to play with the interface. There will be a piece of Java code which you will have to install on your conversion page. Conversion page, thank you for your order number, thank you for registering, thank you for downloading. So when you install a piece of Java code, a cookie gets dropped in your device, and that's how Google will track conversions. Make sense? Yes? So how will Google decide conversions based on history? Again, not accurate. See, I have been buying in the past continuously. Today I click and I don't buy. Possible? So again, you can say maximize conversions. Google will still charge you for every click only. Right? The goal is to get conversions. So Google will check, okay, it will check Farid, whenever he clicks, he buys. So when Farid is shown the ad, it might bid very, very high. And that day, unfortunately, Farid may not buy. Let's say Praful, right? Whenever I see, I never buy. So Google may not even show my ad. Cool. My third bidding type is maximize conversion value. So I'm getting conversions, right? Now what I want to do is I want to increase my cost, decrease my cost per conversion, or I want to get more conversions from my current bids. My conversion value should go down. She says over here, Google Ads automatically sets your bids to help you get the most conversion value within your budget. Okay. My fourth goal is target cost per acquisition. See, maximize conversions, right? The only thing I'm saying over there is get me more conversion. Correct? Maximize conversion value, as I'm saying, get me more conversion value. Over here, I'm giving, I want a conversion every $20. You will still be charged for every click, but it will try to get you a conversion on this average value. Okay? The fifth and most important goal is target impression share. What is impression, people? Impression is whenever my ad is shown, correct? So I am saying show my ads on top at least 50% of the times whenever my impression is coming, and for that I'm okay to pay maximum $2. So over here my goal is impression share and not clicks and not conversions. I want to get more visibility. Okay. My last goal is, which is very important, target ROAS. Target ROAS means return on ad spend. So Google Ads automatically set bids to help get as much conversion value as possible. However, you have to give a reasonable. Don't give 100%, 200%. People, if you give, if you become very greedy and say 100%, 200%, 50%, whatever, your ads may not even show. Right? So these are all your automatic bidding types. So when you have automatic bidding types, why do you have a manual type? One reason, to have more control. Can some ad groups, some keywords perform better than some other ad groups and other keywords? So you should have a flexibility of changing your max cost per click. So in manual CPC, you will decide manually. For some ad groups, I'll pay 50 rupees. For some ad groups, I want to bid 100 rupees. For some keywords, I want to bid more. For some keywords, I want to bid less. In automatic bidding, you only do bidding at campaign level. System will automatically decide what to spend where, and usually they Google Ads. See, their major revenue is coming through Google Ads only. They will somehow try to exhaust your budget and try to meet your goal. So if you are a new user and you do not have much time to go ahead and check your bids, then automatic is a better option. So when to choose automatic bidding? If you have an ad budget you like to spend, some companies, right, they have a budget which they want to spend to get n number of impressions. You don't want to spend time monitoring your individual CPC bids. You are interested in increasing website traffic. Manual CPC bidding. This is mainly done by a lot of small companies, right? You fine-tune your maximum CPC bids to help control the cost and volume of the clicks on your ads. Works if you like to control your maximum cost per click bids for individual ad groups, keywords, or placements. You are interested in increasing website traffic and not as in brand awareness. You don't need to reach a target budget every month. Correct? This is the major difference between automatic and manual. Right? So most of the new advertisers who have big budgets, they usually give a goal and they give automatic bidding. Okay? Any questions on what is bidding, what is budget? And then you have, of course, CPM. What is CPM? Cost per 1,000 impressions. This is only for display network, wherein your goal is definitely only impressions. So you're saying, you know what, my goal is impressions. So you want to pay X amount for every 1,000 impressions that is being shared by you. Yeah. So let's stop over here before we proceed anything further. Okay. But was it clear? Your bids, impressions, whatever. So we have finished 3 sessions of SEM. Tomorrow I will take you through display network and how to make image ads. Okay. But search network is clear, how to make bids, budgets, extensions, ads, keywords, different types of keywords. This is good enough for basics. Of course, you have to learn a lot of more things apart from this. No, Tapas. I'm so sorry. I can't do that. You can talk to your training coordinator and maybe you can do that. I will remove few personal things from here of some other trainers and maybe share a different version with your training coordinator.
Yes, guys, if you need any kind of material, I will be I will be coordinating with the coach and get that to you on an immediate basis.
For timing, I will share the doc any which ways, which you have made. No problem.
Okay, sir.
Sorry, I'm done. Yeah, sorry, I'm done. You can talk if you want to.
Yeah. Okay. So guys, I will be posting the same feedback link today as well. So please be regular in filling the feedback form. And if you are having any other issues, you can directly reach out to me. So I hope you have ended the session, sir. I think that's it for today. Praful sir.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much, people. I am done. So thank you very much for joining in, everybody. Fareed, Tapas, Sonika, Nofal, Mayank, Hiral, Mukesh, Sanjay, Aparna, Vishnu. I am done. If you have any questions, you can type in, just in case you have any questions.
So if you don't have any questions, guys, just you can leave the session and we'll be ending. Thank you so much. Have a very good evening. Stay home.
Thank you. Take care. Bye bye. See you all.